My childhood growing up was fun because I was raised by a single mother. So she taught me a lot of how to take each day at a time and see the good in others and in the environments around you. We didn't have much. We lived in a one-roomed house. I think they call them servants' quarters or something. And we had everyone in there. We had some of my cousins in there. My uncles lived with us. And if I look at life now, it's very different, especially after my mom passed in 2012. But most of my childhood was fun. I grew up around a lot of people, which I would term as the nearest community that I had, and that was like relatives to my mom. And everybody used to push everybody. Go and read your books, go and explore outside for like an hour, and then you have to come back before the sun goes down. I remember my grandmother used to tell me, there is no way a chicken that has 3 senses will come back home before the sun goes down and you want to continue playing. So that also formed a lot of like my curfew beliefs and so forth. And those are like words I'll never forget growing up. For the most part, from the time I was about 6, I was very much into hip hop. My uncles and older cousins used to play a lot of Tupac around the house. So you find yourself trying to imitate Tupac and say his rhyme schemes, and then your mom comes to whip you because you can't say the cuss words. And then, it was really interesting. And then around 10th grade, that's when I got introduced to what studio is and how to record in studio and so forth, and started growing from there. It's actually poetry that opened so many doors, including doing voiceovers. Because I remember I once recited a poem at an alumni gala that the president attended at the time. And I remember one of my mentors, Kamiza came up to me and said, I think you can actually do voiceovers. And I was like, what are those? And long story short, I've been doing voiceovers ever since. Lullabies are sweet. Can I tell you the dream I had?
Destro is a talented wordsmith who became known for his outstanding poetry performances. He's evolved from being a poet to a rapper and now a renowned voiceover artist.
Commitments were told to be of the weak. I am an African king. Polygamy is what I breathe. Watch me throw golden diamonds at the feet of...
He's not your typical everyday kind of artist. The name Destro is now synonymous with creative depth and a controversial approach to poetry.
Buffett and Bassett, secondhand smoker, I'm over the passion. Watching the moon give us a shade. She looked in my eyes, I know that it changed. Told her I'm fine.
Whether it's on stage or in the studio, Destro stands for the truth, presented in the most man-provoking way.
It's a mold them after thinking I'ma be a man if I quote this after alabaster. The oil is pouring on and it flows from the head to the toes I'm on. A little missionary, he told me the ways narrow. Oliver Queen, I'm wearing hoodies and shooting arrows. I know the people are watching, give them something to see. Step to the podium screaming, everybody receive.
He chooses not to be afraid to speak whatever's in his heart, expressing his philosophies freely, while understanding they've got power to change mindsets.
To the word of God. Hallelujah. Yes, amen. Amen. I said it. You may be seated. God bless you.
I would describe Destro as a person as someone who is smart. He is very smart, very articulate, and very affectionate, actually, mostly because he's a poet, a writer, a good writer.
He's a very driven individual who has committed his life to perfecting his craft. It's not a skill set that is commonplace, but he has chosen that path and he has stayed true to it. Despite various avenues that have called his name to have him lean into different art forms, he stayed true to the spoken word, and that is most impressive.
The first impression I got of Destro when I heard his music was someone who cares about people. I call him the love guy because he is just so good at making people feel awesome about themselves. Even his poetry pieces, his music, He's all about morale and confidence, and his great energy, and we need that.
He is off the beaten track. He is definitely, if he was a motor vehicle, he'd be a 4x4 because he goes anywhere and does anything. His mind is malleable and flexible, a lot like Bruce Lee. Be like water. He adapts and fits into whatever environment you throw him into. Quite an amazing mind.
So the first thing that I thought when I heard Destro's music was, wow, this guy is passionate about people, and that's awesome.
Seeing other talents rise in the same career that I'm involved in is a breath of fresh air. It's encouraging to see young people coming up and not making the mistakes that some of us old-timers made. Seeing Destro develop into a voiceover artist who is sought after and who does lots of great work aside from his spoken word pieces is really, really encouraging, and we know that the art form is in very safe hands.
I'm the first to agree. Envy is green. What color is lust? Let us see.
Everybody receives it, rocking the crowd, I'm hoping they see. Sick ocean emotion, the emotion is heated. Focus on being the opium heated.
It's DR. I'm hurt in the sea, merge up with the virgin, thirst in the sea, permin the vermin, I'm first to be greed, I'm the first to agree. Envy is green, what color is lust? Let us see. Being African and the tradition of polygamy within the African bloodlines affects our view of Christianity, where we feel like Christianity is highly monogamous, but I feel like I can juggle 2 or 3 relationships at a go. So how do I navigate knowing that even within the tradition, polygamy is allowed? Pray in the Mecca, we face in the east, but I'm in a position that leaves it with seed, racing with speed. Limit us, please. Black and the blue like a litmus ease. Told you to breathe. Picture this freeze, striking the pose in the Arctic on knees. When I'm trying to gauge African tradition and how it affects a lot of like the decisions I make, or just the major life decisions that I have to make at some point, like for instance, marriage. African tradition seems to take the center stage, and then the only Christian thing you'll do about your marriage is saying your vows in church. But for the most part, everything is handled traditionally. Fill the degrees, everything low-level lighting agrees. Yes, it agrees, about to commune with the evils and fill up the air with the free, then light it up, please. DR. Check it. I'm hurt in the sea, merge up with the virgin, thirst in the sea, permanent vermin, I'm first to be greed, I'm the first to agree. Envy is green, what color is lust? Let us see. Pray in the Mecca, we face in the east, but I'm in a position that leaves it with seed, racing with speed. Limit us, please. Black and the blue like the litmus ease. Told you to breathe. Picture this freeze, striking the pose on the Arctic on knees. Feel the degrees, everything low-level lighting agrees. Yes, it agrees. About to commune with the evils and fill up the air with the free, then light it up, please. Puff it and pass it, secondhand smoker, I'm all for the passion. Watching the moon give us a shade, she walk in my eyes and noted the change. Told her I'm fine, I figured this way we can be holy but sharing the plate. She looking and smiles and say you did good ain't enough, so I pulled her the. It's a mold them after, thinking I'ma be a man if I quote this after. Alabaster, the oil is pouring on, and it flows from the head to the toes I'm on. Her little missionary ready told me the ways narrow. Oliver Queen, I'm wearing hoodies and shooting arrows. I know the people are watching, give them something to see. Step to the podium screaming, everybody receive. Receive the kingdom of the Lord right now. Hallelujah. Check it. Everybody receives it, rocking the crowd, I'm hoping they see. Sick ocean emotion, the emotion is heated. Focus on being the opium heated. The custodian needed the spirit, but this Nickelodeon preacher not knowing how to go and handle the feature. He back at the church, just admiring the features. Geography, he figured he gon' need a little bit of apostasy. Prepostery, he really trying to knock the knees. Figure he hit it from an angle, isosceles. Hit it with it, you gotta decipher the way he weaves the rhyme scheme. Tell you about the demons he be battling, beating the chest. The battalion's best, thinking he need a medallion or a crucifix next. This man of God been hitting the gym, so we thinking he hot, attracting attention to body parts high. Just watch as he loses his woman to size. And she starting to doubt him. Too many girls witnessing that he a problem. They tell her and she just struggles to believe. It gets all defensive and thinking they need him. But listen, the story unfolds, turning the page of the heart that grew cold. Hardening God as he fought with the old parts of himself, thinking he bold, knowing he doing it all for the show. Blood is really thick and so is his flow. Thinking the sky, if you know then you know. Thought that he had it all under control, but God came to tell him that they really just after his soul. After his soul. Lullaby. After his soul. The generalization of saying no, all men are trash and so on and so forth. PlayStation, her body, no one can console. You walk a mile in her shoes and you will lose your soul.
Normally when I see people that live a double life, I don't really understand why they do that. Okay. Because they want to portray different sides of themselves to people, and it shows people that they're not being authentic.
A lot of the time I am misunderstood, and I feel like people misunderstand me as a person because they like to run on what I would say third person information. And what's sad is none of the people that actually spread these things about me are even close to me, so I wonder where they get these assumptions. And I guess when people do find you in certain situations, even if you're not doing the most, when they get to talking, everyone will believe their story and borrow offense without actually getting your side of things. And that's also something I actually don't like about our society. It's very hearsay. People like to believe what others say instead of believing or rather even giving you a chance to speak. Yeah. I've heard so many things maligned around my name. I've been told I'm mean. I've been told I'm too serious. I've been told I'm a vicious flirt and so on and so forth. So when I dial back and go like, what did I do wrong to this person for them to say this? I never really have like solid answers. So when I just continue moving, sometimes people get to ask me when they actually now get to know me, they're like, oh, you know, so-and-so was saying this about you, but you're totally different from what they were saying. And I'm just there like, who's so-and-so? Oh, I don't even know that person. Like, I remember I had the feminist issue in late 2017. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember that. Mm-hmm. You know, I remember speaking out because I kind of felt the generalization of saying, no, all men are trash and so on and so forth. And this was very public, like we had witnesses and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But, you know, people who knew me and knew why I was speaking out understood. But the people who weren't there, mm-hmm. they were so quick to borrow offense and say, yo, because this is a sensitive issue, as a man, you have no right to speak or stand up for anything. And I was trying to even stretch out the point to say, oh, I'm a mentor, and I actually mentor younger men not to be the supposed trash and so forth. I was made to look like I'm teaching young men to perpetuate being trash and whatnot. And a lot of the people that look up to me even decided to borrow offense as well, like, oh man, how could he do that? But they were not even there. The people who were there understood what had happened, and they still see me as a consistent person even up till today. I think for me, when it would really get to hurt is when someone who I actually consider within my circles starts spreading like rumors or saying certain things that create expectations in the minds of people. So one thing I want people to understand is that I'm a fun-loving person. I am not too serious. I'm not mean. I can be direct at times. Maybe that's what's misconstrued as mean. But for the most part, I smile, and I'm always like the person who will encourage people and so on and so forth. I'm ever present. But I feel like people need to get to know me at face value for them not to misunderstand me based on third person encounters or whatever. Diary of a Madman, a youth pastor. She be doing the handstand. She really Christian. I met her when she was 8, fam. Singing in the choir, now she be singing the name, fam. In the crowd, where you thought up there she could be. The message behind Secrets is basically vulnerability. I kind of feel like we live in times where a lot of people save face, and social media helps us save face because we're always trying to compare to people's moments and how perfect they seem. So we don't want to be real with ourselves. She was brought up in a broken home where it's make-believe to have a father, so she be daughtered by every fiend that's a molester, and she just doesn't believe in dreams, but has faith in the nightmare that she lives. It isn't secret, the peach is given to greed kids. Has social media done more good than bad for the culture? I feel that's a double-edged sword. On one spectrum, on one end of the spectrum, it has helped the culture get out there. Like a lot of people who identify with the culture are able to put up to say, we identify with this culture. And then on one end, it's done a lot of harm because of the whole comparisons that I earlier spoke of, where people are looking at moments that people post and take that to be like the gospel truth of their whole life. Ain't no kitten around this cat, she bout the business. I met her when she was crying and asking for forgiveness. She say she want their redemption, but can she be redeemed? She really claimed that she loved the Lord, but she's stripping jeans.
Hey. Diary of a madman, a youth pastor. She be doing the handstand. She really Christian. I met her when she was 8, fam. Singing in the choir, now she be singing the name, fam. In the crowd, where you thought of that she could be. She was brought up in a broken home where it's make-believe to have a father, so she be daughtered by every fiend that's a molester, and she just doesn't believe in dreams, but has faith in the nightmare where she lives. It isn't secret, the peach is given to greed kids. PlayStation, her body, no one can console. You walk a mile in her shoes and you will lose your soul. Ain't no kitten around this cat, she bout the business. I met her when she was crying and asking for forgiveness. She say she want that redemption, but can she be redeemed? She's been pretending to love the Lord, but she's stripping jeans. Sipping my tea, I cannot lie, I do be thinking things. It is a secret, the door closing this crazy dream. I wake and rub on my eyes so I can see clearly. She's sleeping next to me, how this happen? She's so near me. Lingerie from Victoria, so the story goes. How you culminate fashion from all the rapping, bro? I'm not kidding you, nothing happened in this scene, but she is naked foremostly. This ain't a sick dream. I lay in wonder, and this was after a show. I see a knife under pillow, it's murder she wrote. Eyes closed, I think it's only a dream, but she's there. This is just what it seems. I try to blink, but she barely moves. Heart beats, pulsating it too. She's unconscious, but starts to whisper to me. Let's keep a secret. End of the EP.
I would love to see Destro inspire more upcoming leaders in Africa, even people similar to what he does, because his message is something that we've been dying for in Zambia, someone who can express themselves without having to feel like they're limited or someone is putting them in a box.
The kind of impact I'd love to see Destro and other artists make across the continent would be that their words go beyond being very cleverly crafted pieces of prose, but actually elicit a thought process which lets people go off and start thinking deeper and harder about the topics and situations that affect us as a whole.
The fact that he also exhibits leadership qualities, there's no doubt his legacy will be built on leadership. And because of his passion for people, a great leader is what Destro will be. And he is building his career into something that will inspire many other people.
Thought leadership is where I would like to see Destro and other artists be.
So what would I say to people who are misunderstood? Hang in there. Not everybody will judge you based on empathy. They'll judge you based on their own motivation or intention of what they perceive you should be as a person. Everybody has an idea of who you should be, and not in everyone's story are you the hero. There are some stories where people consider you the villain, so that shouldn't really shake you. Your identity should be founded on Christ, and because he's the hope of man, he's the hope of glory. And I feel like when we find our center and we know what our purpose is, whoever misunderstands, it's fine. So long God doesn't misunderstand me, I'm cool.